Hey gang, it's Nathan, trans midwife here. I am going to do some videos. It has been a while because, as you probably know by now, I'm a midwife, and that means that I have been working like crazy. I wanted to tell you a little bit about how it's been during the COVID-19 battle, being a frontline NHS member of staff. Um, it's been intense, it's been challenging, it's been constantly changing, updating. Um, the managers are just amazing warriors, going to meetings every day, getting all this information and then trying to disseminate it to the staff and to the teams, and then we're taking that forwards and turning it into the ways that we're working and everything like that. It really has been intense and unprecedented times, like they keep saying, just something that you really never imagined that you would live through. So yeah, I wanted to talk about lots of different factors of what it's been like, especially for our lovely students, who some of whom are probably really missing placement and patient contact right now. Um, so when this all started, I won't lie to you, I was one of the people who thought that it was unlikely to be a big deal. I didn't take it very seriously, and sort of some of my family members who were maybe reading more than I was were a lot more concerned, and I kind of was laughing at them. Um, and then it started to get serious, and I realised that. So what happened was the government said that they started the 2 week isolation if any of your family had any symptoms, and literally that day that they announced that 2 week thing, my littlest daughter, who's 3 now, had quite a high temperature and nothing else really. She was a bit peaky in the cheeks, but and this high temperature, and so I had to call my manager. And when I rang my manager, I sort of said, "Listen, I'm listening to the news right now, and they've just announced that if anyone in the family has symptoms, you have to self isolate for 2 weeks." And my manager at the time was sort of telling me something else, sort of yesterday's policy, and then they literally looked up the news while I was on the phone and went, "Oh my God, you're right. You're going to have to. That's it. You're staying home for 2 weeks." And that was really strange. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry I look like absolute shit. My hair's disgusting. It's because I've been working for days on end. Anyway, so yeah, so I started the kind of pandemic when it hit here, in 2 week lockdown with my 2 kids and my husband. And that was weird. It was quite strange. It was sort of like being on holiday in your own house, and um, kind of the kids were getting used to it, and a bit boring in one respect, especially for the kids, bless them. We came up with lots of different things we could do together as a family, and I ended up doing a lot of the house jobs. I bet a lot of you are finding that, just having so much time at home where normally we're so busy all the time. Well, I just had time. So I cleared out the bedrooms and changed them all around, and we actually bought new beds, and it was nice. We made it really nice in our home again, and that was I'm really glad I had that time. So we were coming up to the end of that 2 week isolation, and I realised I was going to go back to work, and I also realised that most of my colleagues at some point were going to go off sick. And because they say 80% of people are going to have symptoms. Well, not symptoms, but they're going to have it in some way or some form. And so I realised I was going back to work, and I realised that I'd probably be working most days. And imagining coming home to two very little children and the stress of knowing that I might be covered in this virus that could kill them, I just thought, I can't be dealing with that. So I started looking around for options, like, is there a way for me to stay somewhere safe away from the kids, until the worst of it's over. And actually, all I did was email the kind of it's like the finance department, and they booked me a flat. They've booked me this flat, and they paid for a month stay in this little holiday apartment on the seafront in Eastbourne. Just like that, my boss just had to agree to it, and that was it. So on the Monday, after our 2 weeks, I went to work with my massive suitcase, and that night I went shopping actually because I wouldn't have had any food otherwise. So that night I did the shopping after work, got to about 7:30 in the evening, and then I arrived at this flat. And the staff here are lovely. I say the staff, the people who own this kind of building with several flats in it. And they'd left me this little box of chocolate fingers in the fridge there, and a cup of tea, like not made, but like the bits you need to make tea, and sort of a little card saying thank you and stuff. And that was sweet. And yeah, and so I started staying here, and it's been okay. It's a lovely place to stay, absolutely lovely place to stay, which helps. I've got a little kitchen and everything, and I've got an Xbox. Thank God. I've been playing The Witcher 3, which is, oh my God, amazing, and that's keeping me busy. And I'm also watching Grey's Anatomy. I've never even watched that before. Thankfully, I got obsessed with it just before I left the house. So I've got Grey's Anatomy and The Witcher 3, depending on what I fancy, and that is really helping, having something that I'm into, to kind of kill the time in the evenings. Every Thursday night, people are clapping for the NHS, and every time so far, it's made me tear up, and it's made me feel very warm and fuzzy in my chest, and just grateful for the recognition, because actually I've left my family, and I'm very lonely, and working very hard in very strange circumstances, and just to be appreciated is very valuable. And also, all of the rainbows and the signs that people are putting in their windows, it's not silly. It means so much. And it means that while I'm driving around doing my community visits, sorry, it's hard holding the phone. While I'm doing my community visits, I'm seeing all these signs and thank yous and stuff. And that, oh God, it's really shaking. I'm sorry. I can't sort it out. It does help me to see those messages. So thank you for doing that, for doing the little messages. Oh, what's it doing? For God's sake. It's really good. Oh. And yeah, and the clapping, it means a lot and helps me get through. It's happening tonight, it's Thursday now. And I've heard fireworks and banging pans and car horns and everything. It's been funny, but it does help. It does. So how am I doing? I'm doing okay. If I don't think about it, if I don't think about the kids, I notice that human contact is really lacking. So every day, normally, I'm firstly hugging colleagues, and then when I get home from work, my kids will both climb into my lap, and I'm really noticing missing skin to skin contact. Like, I can remember like stroking my baby's arms and faces, and that's really odd to not be doing that daily. Yeah, it's weird. I normally laugh all the time. I'm not laughing very much at the moment. And I think at work it's hard because the the clients, the families' stress levels are high, and some people are really, really scared to move or even see you. So the family's stress is high, and then the colleagues' stress is high. 2 of my colleagues have had close people die now of the virus. So people that they're close to have died. And it's that kind of stress culture, and it breeds more stress because we're not laughing, we're not chatting, we're staying back from each other, we're trying to get it so that people are working from home a lot. And the other thing is we're really reducing the contact with the patients. So a lot of our kind of contacts are stripped back. Maybe I could talk about that in another video of kind of how we've changed the service. But yeah, really, really missing kind of human contact. It's very strange. I'm sure everyone is. But yeah, so living alone for the first time, and working hard, working every day, about 5 or 6 days a week. I've been on call about four nights a week. Yeah, so, but I'm okay. I'm surviving. It helps me to imagine this as my lifetime's war. It's because we probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, won't get war like we used to, that kind of war, because it's dealt with differently now. But this is like our war, and I don't think we'll ever live to see times like this again, fingers crossed. So it's helping me to think of it like that. Like if I went to war, I'd be away from my family and I'd fight the war before I came back. And that's kind of how it feels. And no, meaning no offense to people who've actually fought in wars, because that's very different, obviously, and awful. But it's helping me to think, if this was like physical crisis, like national disaster, tsunami, tornado, whatever, and we were all running, this is it. We wouldn't even think about it. We'd be separated. We'd just do it because you have to, and that helps. And I keep reminding my children, every time I speak to them, I'm like, I will come back. I'm not very far away. I'm just, people are sick and I'm helping them, and then I'm going to come back and this will go back to normal. And actually, they're all right and I'm all right. I'm sad, but I'm okay. Yeah. So that's what's going on with me, working, living at the moment, and partly why I haven't updated in a while, but I'm going to make quite a few videos because I'm in the mood, and I will put them out. Upcoming, I'm going to talk about our student midwives and the sacrifices they're making. I'm going to talk about my transition, because there's some stuff going on there. And I'll talk about the changes to our service down in where I live in Southeast. So yeah, all right. I really hope everyone is well and you're keeping safe. Stay indoors. For me, think about me, stay indoors. Thanks. Bye.